So look, let's go to Revelation chapter 6. Since we are in Revelation, let's go to chapter 6, verse 15. And then the kings of the earth and the great ones and the generals and the rich and the powerful and everyone slave and free hid themselves in the caves and among the rocks of the mountains, calling to the mountains and rocks, fall on us and hide us from the face of him who is seated on the throne and from the wrath of the Lamb. So we have this scenario on the sixth seal, but that came from the testimony of Jesus. Jesus prophesied that. So what Revelation now is showing the fulfillment and the actual happening of that, when that actually happened. And it tells you when it actually happened. It happened shortly from the time John saw it in vision. Let's look now. Let me show you where Jesus talked about these things. Let's go to Luke 23, verse 27. We are at the account of Jesus on his way to be crucified. And there followed him a great multitude of the people and of women who were mourning and lamenting for him. Verse 28, but turning to them, Jesus said, daughters of Jerusalem, do not weep for me, but weep for yourselves and for your children. For behold, the days are coming when they will say, blessed are the barren and the wombs that never bore and the breasts that never nursed. Then they will begin to say to the mountains, fall on us, and to the hills, cover us. Now this is the same thing we read in Revelation chapter 6 has come into pass, where all the kings of the earth and those slave and those free and all the people ran to the mountains and hid in the caves and said, fall on us, cover us from the wrath of him that sits on the throne. But here's Jesus making the prediction, and he's saying to those women who were following him that they would live to see this happen. So this came to pass in the time, in the generation of these people to whom Jesus spoke to. But many of us is like, oh, we're still looking forward for this to happen. Oh, the Russians are going to run to the rocks and the mountains, or whatever people we think are our enemies, or enemies of God, or enemies of Christianity. Yeah, those people, they're going to be running to the rocks and the mountains and so on and so forth. But Jesus was not talking about events in the 21st century, in the 20th century, in the 19th century, in the 18th century, in the 17th, 16th, 15th, 13th, 12th, 10th, 9th, 8th, 7th, 6th, 5th, 4th, 3rd, nor 2nd century. He was talking about things that would happen in the 1st century AD.